I'm very excited.
Hey y'all, so we decided to come out to the property after work today to see if we can get that little area where the stump needs to be cut down more and us to add in some more dirt to see if we can get that done. I brought the dogs with me because they wanted to come. They were giving me sad faces when I was leaving the house. So I was like, sure, you guys can come. I also brought dinner so that we could cook on the grill, and I put it in the front seat and I blocked them off from the front seat with a bag on the console. And we got here and I was like, oh, I don't want them to jump in the front seat. So I rolled down the back windows so that they'd be like smelling out the windows like, oh, exciting, where are we? Right? Okay. I thought it was a good plan. And I got out the car, and Tucker, the little white one, he is always afraid that I'm going to leave him. And apparently that was so scary that I got out the car with him still in the car that he jumped out the window of the truck. Mind you, he's not big, okay? Jumped out the window of the truck, landed like face down onto the driveway, slid down the little hill on the driveway, popped back up and was super excited. And his brother, Mason, who is currently under the shed house, decided that that was the perfect opportunity to hop in the front seat to get a better view of what was going on, and he landed directly on the food. So far, things are going great. Let's see if they just get better. I busted my tinfoil open for tonight's dinner. So we decided to just try to burn it out. It is probably one of those really massive stumps that was an old tree that has grown new trees. It's like a mound of dirt that's the same level as the height that we want to be. So we're thinking if we can just burn it out and then backfill it with the clay, should be good to go. So we'll see how it burns. You're so cute. Now that I know, are your ribs in?
How'd we get here?
How did we get here?
Dreaming, night shift, bad days at work.
Yeah.
All the good things that inspire people to get motivated and change their life.
Got married broke?
Broke.
What? I was 21. You were?
24, 25, somewhere in there.
Yeah. You made $12.25 an hour, and I made nothing. I was a college student. So I cleaned my parents' house for some extra money to help make bills me on the weekends. And
I deer hunted, so we'd have meat.
so that's kind of what started it, was it was like, hey, well, beef is really expensive, chicken's expensive. We can't afford to work on our house because the house we bought when we got married was a foreclosure, and
not even recently foreclosed. Like
4 years prior, it was foreclosed and it sat empty for 4 years.
2010 to 2014, it just sat on the market. Nobody wanted it,
and it was rough.
No water. All the pipes in the house are cracked, broken from the. We even down here, we still had a rough enough winter where it cracked the pipes.
When we walked inside upstairs, the ceiling the roof was leaking, which caused the mold on the ceiling, and that was scary. And then we realized the kitchen had mold all over the floor, all up the walls, and literally the whole way through it all, the reason we made it was because God provided. Like, we found the mold, and then we didn't have money to hire a company to come and check the mold. It turned out that Austin's parents' neighbor worked for a company that tested mold to see what type it was, and they came out to our house for free as a favor, tested it for us, said it was non-toxic, very easy to kill, little chlorine or bleach.
Black mold.
Yeah, it was nothing to worry about. And they told us how to treat it and handle ourselves. So then we kind of got on the page where, well, if we can tackle this,
what else can we do?
Yeah, can we take this a step further? So
do we have to hire a contractor to do the kitchen, or can we do it ourselves? How hard is flooring?
Right.
Paint. I don't even like painting. I'm not gonna lie. I probably painted 15 minutes in the last 7 years.
And I've probably painted 50 hours.
50 hours, yeah. I don't paint. I pick things up and I put them down. Heavy things.
But so then we decided that we wanted to garden because we wanted fresh vegetables. And
I mean, $2.99 for a bell pepper at the store, that was just like insane to me. I make $12 an hour. I can't spend, $10 on a couple bell peppers, but a pack of seeds is $2.99.
Right.
And you can grow 20 plants that make 20 peppers.
Yeah.
Maybe not that many, but we started with just trying to do a little garden, and that kind of took off. We had my dad's old tiller that was older than I was, and it literally lasted long enough to get our ground tilled up to put the garden down, and then it hasn't been cranked again since 2014. It was a small garden, a little bit of kale, a little bit of lettuce,
spinach,
healthy stuff. We didn't go for green beans and cabbage and some of the stuff.
We've grown green beans and cabbage, but the first year we just went for like healthy, expensive items, like things that we wanted but that we couldn't afford to buy. And before the garden, we were basically eating Hamburger Helper with deer meat. So each meal, not like that would feed us for multiple days, cost what, like $3?
$3-4.
Yeah. So
depending if you got the 5 cheese or the
right, exactly. And usually it was the 1 cheese one, let's be honest. And so then we decided that we really wanted fresh eggs, because buying chicken eggs at the grocery store, if you want good eggs, you have to pay more for them.
For us to just go from a country-ish living girl to a straight up city boy who dreamed of country living, I mean, we put our toes in the water and we loved it.
Yeah. So we started with our chickens, and what we converted was a greenhouse that my grandparents had that they had not used in years, that had been pushed back into the woods on my aunt's land for years. And we were like, we need to come up with a way to house these chickens that cost us almost nothing. Yep. And we took that greenhouse, we bought a little bit of wire. Chicken
wire, and man, that stuff broke the bank.
Yeah.
That was one of the most expensive non-essentials we had purchased.
Yep.
That wasn't a wedding gift like
right.
coffee makers or stuff like that.
Right.
A non-essential that we thought we needed to live this lifestyle. Chicken wire was so expensive.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, well, we're in this. Let's get we got our 6 chickens from Tractor Supply. And
you remember what we used to roof it?
We took down, there was a part of our deck. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this.
It was a knockover. So
yes.
we knocked over that section of the deck, and we used the dog ear boards.
And we cut them into shingles.
Yep. We cut them into like 2 or 3 foot shingles. And I've been watching Mountain Man and old Eustace Conway up in Boone, North Carolina. He had handmade splint shingles. I think they're called splint shingles or something. And there's a cool way they make them, the old school way. But I was like, you know what? This looks super cottagey, woodsy. Cost me a pack of screws. Right. And I think we hand sawed them. I don't think I had a power saw.
I think we hand sawed them.
I hand sawed every one of them with one of my dad's old craftsmen from his dad. So
also we're trying to work on our house and we have like no tools. So we're trying to like work around having no tools and no knowledge. And I think we're better for it.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't change it.
No, we started not primitive, but with these. Yeah. I mean, we did not get one of those like super fancy $500 Black Friday DeWalt toolkits. Nope. We scrimped and saved, and we bought the $99 3-piece Ryobi kit.
And we wore it out.
Nothing against Ryobi, because I know a lot of people use them, but that circular saw only lasted long enough for me to build a 4x4x4 pump house. And it pooped after that. It just quit working. Yeah. And I haven't bought a Ryobi tool since. Everything we own is DeWalt now, just because, it's DeWalt.
And that was the start of it too. When we bought the house, the pump house was garbage. It was falling apart. Everything, everything was trashed inside of it except for the submersible pump that was down in the well. Yeah. And everything else, Austin researched and replaced and rebuilt the entire outside of the pump house inside. And we got water. Yep. The switch system, the bladder tank, the valve tee, the shutoff valves, everything. I rebuilt it. What happened when we turned on the water? Well, the pump worked and the bladder worked, but we found out there was 2 pipes in the walls in the kitchen that we didn't know were busted. So we flooded the kitchen. And of course, by the time we figured it out and I shut the water off, it didn't matter. Already 5 or 10 gallons of water had already poured through the kitchen. And luckily we had already torn the floors all the way down, or was it still linoleum? No, we had torn part of the floors down at that point, but there was 5 layers of floors in the kitchen. And so we had made it through a couple and we had a couple more to go. Okay. And then we ended up treating everything how the mold company told us, and then we painted it with Kills. Up the whole floor, up the walls, everything. Yep. Just, started from bare bones. Yep. From nothing. Tools. Most of our tools, I'll roughly say 80% of all the tools we own were bought at auction, estate sales, yard sales. But about 2.5, 3, it's probably closer to 3.5 years now. Because we purchased this land in February. What is it, 2021? 2019. So yeah, I'd say about 3.5 years ago. She was still working night shifts. I was not dead end at my state job, but I wasn't actually progressing, and I didn't see myself going anywhere. I just working that job until I was 60 and retired like everybody else. And we both said, nah, we ain't doing this. Right. We want a homestead. All doom and gloom to why can't we live a sunshiny, happy days, birds in the sky, rainbows, kind of whimsical lifestyle that's only dreamt about? we started looking for property, and we originally were thinking, what, like 5 acres?
2 to 5. I was like, man, we're on 1.1 right now, 1.2, you know, and some of it was just like, what are you going to build on this? You're right next to a neighbor. You know, I'm not going to grow corn crop right, you know, 5 feet off my neighbor's property line. I could
if we had to, yeah.
Just, I don't know.
We were definitely not in the right area for what we wanted. So we actually started by trying to buy the land behind us, but our neighbors weren't interested in selling. So then we're like, all right, well, if we want more land, let's do it. Let's go after the dream, because the longer we talked about it, it was like, well, it's kind of like do it or regret not doing it in the future. So instead of worrying about how we're going to do it or thinking about how we might regret in the future if we don't do it, we just decided to see if we could make it happen.
Yeah, and we looked over a year, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Zillow, Trulio,
debating on if it was the right time. Even once we started looking.
It's dove season. There's just birds flying everywhere out here in the evening hours.
It's beautiful.
It's distracting.
I'm really enjoying it. After a day at work, man. So we started looking for land, and this property was actually listed for like, was it 10 years?
I think
over 10 years
or more years, because the parcel next to us, it was A, B, and C. We're in B.
Mm-hmm.
A was bought, I think, in early 2000s, so over 10 years ago. And I think our neighbor had his house built probably in like 2009, 2010 or something. So that alone is over 10 years ago. So I know this parcel's been for sale for just as long, and so is C. And parcel C was bought and developed, I want to say, in like the same year we bought our house.
2014?
Yeah, like 14, 15. So this has been here for a good minute now. But we kind of...
The listing was terrible.
The listing was terrible, and we passed it over multiple months, multiple times. We went 50 miles north, 50 miles east, 50 miles south, 50 miles southwest, 50 miles southeast. But we never just went northwest.
Yeah.
This was just a dead corridor of land around our city.
Right, yeah. There's not a lot of people that live out here.
I'm not going to say it's unaccessible.
It's harder to get to, for sure.
There's 2 places to get across the main river, and they're both 20, 30 minutes from each other. We, on a whim, one Saturday, woke up, instead of yard selling like the usual, drove out here.
Yeah.
And boy, was it thick.
Yeah.
Where we're sitting, you couldn't see us from the road if I had an orange shirt and flashlight strobing.
Yeah. Even
at nighttime, I think you would have been hard-pressed to see me shining a flashlight at you. It was so thick. I mean, you can see, this is not as thick behind us, if you can still see it, because that drops down into the valley. And I couldn't see it for a while. I was pressed to get it because it was 20 acres of land.
Yeah.
That ain't 2 to 5, Dorothy.
Right.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, it's just so peaceful. Like,
there's nothing out here.
Yeah, I think, and it was so crazy. Like, this is where we were supposed to be. Like, anytime we went and looked at land, it was back off the market right after we looked at it, even land that had been on the market for a while. And this piece was just still sitting. We had seen it multiple times. The pictures were weird. The description was weird. And I was finally just like, I'd been looking at it all night one night at work, like, I think we should just go look at it in person.
Right.
And see, like, maybe it's a bad listing. Well, it turned out the pictures were 15 years old, so it looked nothing like the pictures.
Yeah.
The description said, be careful around old house site. And I was like, we pulled in the driveway, and I was like,
it's not a house site. It's not some rundown shack thing that, burnt down 40 years ago.
Right.
It wasn't a house site.
Right. It was an old homestead, which is so dreamy to me because I have loved them.
Light bulb.
Loved them forever. Like, I remember as a kid staring at all of them, like, as we drive around, because they're all over the place. And
saw-milled heart pine.
Beautiful.
Legit 1930s.
From this
original,
land. Yeah.
That the owner's daddy and granddaddy built on this land.
Yeah, from this land. Like,
And here we are trying to become homesteaders, and this is homesteading land.
yeah,
Kind of like we're just going back to our roots.
right?
Our country
roots. So then we started walking around the property, and we realized that it's like pretty level, which it turns out it's sloped, but I mean, I like it. It's level-ish, and then it goes to a valley, and then it comes back up, and then it's level-ish again. And down in the valley, there is a creek that runs through.
No, a natural spring.
At closing, we found out there's a natural spring, and then we ended up finding it the next summer.
20 acres of wooded hardwoods mixed pine with hills and valleys and creek bottoms. That's a trek. That's a leg workout.
And I remember.
And it is much more than we ever imagined.
I remember when we popped out the woods back on the dirt road, trying to follow it on the maps of seeing where we were at. We popped back out on the dirt road, and I was like, this is it. Do you remember?
Yeah. It was kind of like, wait, hold on. We're already in the country, and it just got country.
This is it. This is where we're meant to be. This feels like home, as crazy as that sounds. So we ended up getting the land. It was crazy how it all worked out, but we got it, and we were then like, now what? And we've just kind of taken it step by step since then. And
when she says now what, it was like, now what? Do we clear it? Do we put a house, mobile home, pole barn? How do we clear it? Do we have to do it by hand?
You're right.
I have a chainsaw. I have one singular chainsaw. The $200 Northern Tool Husqvarna that doesn't work.
We just jumped in and literally just kept praying for open doors and closed doors, and for open doors to show us where God wants us to be, and to close doors to stop us in our tracks. And that has brought us to where we're at, because we have reached many closed doors, but we have really seen some open doors.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
I don't think we would have believed it last year this time that we would have a 16 by 52 shed on a cleared area with a driveway and a well and a YouTube channel, sharing it with all of you guys. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Us a year ago would have been like, yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day, but not in a year. That's 10, not going to happen in a year. Yeah, maybe 10 years.
Yeah, we might have to save up for like a decade or something.
And it's happening. So we're super excited to bring you along on the journey. We thought tonight would be pretty chill, so we figured we might as well kind of share some backstory.
Yeah, and it's just blissful to be able to come out here and enjoy this.
So we forgot we put dinner on the grill, but it looks good. So it's definitely cooked. And so now we're just gonna sit here by the fire and enjoy.
That's right. Good night.